It's no secret that I love to read. It's fundamentally changed my life and turned me into the person that I've always wanted to be. Reading can take you places you never thought you could go to. It can help you make friends with people who lived centuries ago, and it can teach you things that will ultimately change your life. To quote George R.R. Martin, a reader lives thousands of lives before he dies. The man who does not lives only one. Today we're going to be talking about a subject which is near and dear to my heart, which is why you should start to read books. So I want to talk about both why reading books is so important, and the second is hacks of how to access books even if it's difficult for you to read. From a very early age, I had a really complicated relationship with reading. When I was in preschool, my parents thought I was a really smart kid. And then I got to elementary school and they were like, oh, never mind. I have really severe dyslexia and ADD. And so I didn't actually finish reading a whole book by myself until the end of 8th grade. I remember crying one day because I found a book and I stayed up reading this book until like 5 in the morning. I didn't finish it, but I got quite far through it and I cried because I thought that I would never have that experience of staying up at night reading a book. That one moment I did, and it was a very magical moment for me because it was something that I really wanted in my life that I couldn't get. But then I found audiobooks and everything changed, because as much as I would try to read with my eyes, I'm just not great at it. You know, it's like being 5 foot tall and wanting to be an NBA star. You're just not gonna be able to dunk as much as you practice jumping. But the second that I got audiobooks, I started being able to finish 2 books a week. Now, why did they change my life? Why is listening so important? I would say that my brain, when I'm going through the day and I'm not reading books, 80% of the time is actually dreaming about the future, and 20% of the time is thinking about it now. And I think that all this experience that I've had listening to books has taught me to be a really good dreamer as well. I'm constantly inventing things. I'm constantly telling myself stories about what my life is going to be, how things are going to develop, what my goals are going to be. It's easy to do this when you spend so much time listening to books because you're exposed to so much creativity and so much dreaming. And so listening to books actually makes you a way better dreamer, in addition to all the content that it teaches you about the world. If I was to catalog the books that had the most impact on my life, the first one is a book called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And this book introduced me to the concept of a muse company, a company that you can build that would make it so you didn't need to work anymore. And my goal in college was to build a company like this. Tim Ferriss described this idea of the new rich, people who are able to travel around the world, make money in US dollars and pay in rupees or pesos or yen. It introduced me to a lot of very, very important philosophies that I still use to this day. The next book that had a huge impact on me is How to Win Friends by Dale Carnegie. Both of these books are books that I listen to almost every single year because the principles are so important. Then there's books like the biography of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Alexander Hamilton, Benjamin Franklin, Elon Musk, Edison, all these figures who I admire so much that I model my life after. I take the most important concepts from their lives and I apply them to mine. And then at a certain point, I ended up building Speechify. Speechify really is the tool that changed my life the most. If I was a wizard and I would have come up with a spell, Speechify, and I would point it at a piece of content, it would read it to me. And it would read it to me in a really good voice. And it would read it to me at whatever speed is the optimum speed for me to listen to it. It's just unlocked the entire world. Now I can listen to anything. And so I don't only get the higher level facts, I get the context around them so I understand why. And it means that the information really sinks deep into my brain. The other way to think about this, it's a mental model of the universe. And all your decisions that you make in life are a function of the mental model of the universe that is in your brain. And some people's mental model of the universe is very pixelated. Like if you go on Google Maps in places that don't have good satellite data, you can't see all the houses, but some places you see very, very sharp all the houses. And so my mental model of the universe, I can zoom super deep into most topics, and it's a very expansive map that covers everything from like the financial industry and investment banks to, you know, wars that happen in Saudi Arabia. It makes it so that any topic, if I walk into a room, I can participate in the conversation and I can make analogies and I can understand. And this knowledge helps me in business, it helps me in my family life, it helps me in the goals that I set, it helps me in even just being happy because I can compare myself to people's lives in the past. I don't only get the highlights of like the beautiful part about their lives, I know the periods where people were depressed. You know, people say how social media is a highlight reel of everybody's life. Sometimes biographies of historical figures are like that too. But if you study them deeply enough, you can find the areas where that was not the case. All right, so in conclusion, why should you start reading? Number one, it will develop your brain. In the same way that studying another language or going to the gym will develop your body, reading develops your brain, especially listening. If you listen, you're able to speak faster, listen faster, and comprehend more when other people are talking to you. Number two, it lets you dream bigger dreams. Number three, It develops the mental model of the universe in your brain, your tree of knowledge, so that you can make better decisions and understand the world better. There's nothing I've seen that has had a bigger impact on my personal life in terms of developing me into a better person. The same thing is true of every single other person that I've met. If I meet even someone who is older, sophisticated, experienced, if they listen to a lot of books, I know that they're smart, and I can see it by the way that they talk and the decisions that they make and the advice that they give me. If you want to read more and become more educated, flesh out the mental model of the universe in your brain, download Speechify. It changed my life. I think it can change yours too. If you liked this video, please share with a friend, leave a comment below, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, check out some of the other videos on the channel, and as always, happy listening.